You know the housing crisis in Canada is pretty serious when there's a Twitter account dedicated for it. The Bank of Montreal carried out analysis that showed that even at the height of the housing crisis, there are still enough houses for people in Canada. So you might ask yourself, what was and what is the actual problem? The thing is, the problem seems to be that the houses are very expensive for the regular person. Now, some say that there is no one cause for this problem, that there are many factors that contribute to having housing being very expensive for people in Canada, which by extension is causing the housing crisis. And these factors include home flipping, low interest rates at that point, and even the development of premium price homes. However, a careful exploration of these factors have shown that they could be all correlated or related to one thing in particular: speculators. Now here's the thing, there are a number of people, most of which are not actually foreigners but Canadians. And these people look at housing as purely an investment and not necessarily a place that people can live. And when this happens, they purchase a property not to run a business or to live in, but solely for the purpose of making profit. As a result, these speculators are either flipping the homes and selling them at ridiculous prices, or renting them out at ridiculous prices after flipping them. What we now see is that there are many homes in Canada, but many people cannot afford to buy them or rent them to live in. Another way that these speculators affect the house pricing is that their constant purchases helps keep the house prices high. So a speculator buys and another speculator buys from a speculator, and you see how that goes. The Bank of Canada, on the other hand, also had a part to play in this. Due to COVID, they kind of made it easier for these speculators to buy more houses by dropping the interest rates, which, in their defense, there was really nothing much they could do about it because things were getting really expensive and no one was working, so they had to incentivize the public and stir up the economy. So the low interest rates implemented by the Bank of Canada between the period of around 2020 to 2021 led to a mad rush for increase in property investment. And this is because the low interest rates led to people being able to access loans easier with low stress tests and so on. Now, if you're the Bank of Canada, you would ask yourself, it doesn't seem too crazy that increase in interest rates could slow down this issue. Simply because if you had to pay more for a loan, then you wouldn't be so inclined as to getting multiple investments because your debt is going to be higher and you might not break even or even have positive cash flow at the end of the day. But the flip side to this, which nobody really saw coming or is just not as important to some people, is that when you increase the interest rates, the existing landlords have to now increase their rents just to meet up with their variable rates, especially if they have variable rates in a place like Canada where you could fix for 5 years, and after that you have to refinance at the new existing rate. And another factor that contributed to this as well was that as the rates were increasing, the salaries weren't increasing to match. And this has led to more scrambling for what little accommodation is even left. While on the outside, it looks like the interest rates aren't really helping as much as it should, the government would have to take more measures just to tackle this. One way could even be a potential for more taxes on vacant or underutilized properties, as this would force investors to actually set realistic prices for their rentals. But probably the biggest step that the government could take is just building affordable housing for individuals. And with this particular step, there are two things that it can accomplish. One, it will mean that everyone could actually have access to a place that they can afford. And two, it will set the tone for the rest of the market. And I say this because, take for instance, if you have a property and you're renting it out, and you see that your tenants are leaving to more affordable properties, then you'll be forced to drop your rent just to keep that place occupied. Which sometimes it's not really good for the investor side point, but at the same time, it's actually better for the renters or the people that can't afford to live. And you would ask yourself, building affordable housing, isn't that really a problem? Well, Canada is one of the largest countries in the world, and the population isn't that high, so space definitely isn't a problem. The government would just have to basically partner with either nonprofit organizations or just build the affordable housing themselves. And unfortunately, if steps aren't taken to address these issues, housing might be more of a problem than we want to admit. And with that, I'm coming to the end of this video. If you like this sort of content and you want to subscribe to the channel, that'll be greatly appreciated. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up, and I'll see you in my next video. Till next time, I'm Peter. Thank you for watching.